Hi, thanks for tuning in. This is a weekend review for the week ending February 9th, 2024. We're looking at a weekly chart of the S&P 500. We have a weekly all-time high close. Momentum precedes price. Say it with me, guys. What do we have here? We had the double top setup, which did not work. One would argue, cup and handle. One would argue this is a trend to follow. You don't need to predict anything. What do I mean by that? Let's zoom in. See this yellow line where the alert is? It goes off every week when price touches it. There were 2 weeks here where price didn't touch it. But as you can see, almost every week, price will come back to this yellow line. That is a trend that you can follow. You can buy at that yellow line. You can sell when price loses the yellow line. Right? This is trend following 101. You can also use a moving average cross. Okay? I like this one, this yellow and orange. EMA 5, SMA 10. Okay. So you get your buy signal back here, November 6th, long and strong ever since. What does that mean? It means probability of price finding demand at the yellow line is good. Let's take a look at ADX. You guys remember this indicator? Is ADX above this line here, 25? Yeah, that means this is a trend. Okay? The thing is trending. That being said, she kind of peaks out and then pulls back. Right? ADX pulls back, not price. Okay? So just keep an eye that like every indicator I have is telling me that this is trending. This is a market that is trending higher. And if I can zoom out to the monthly, what do you see? All-time highs. Acceleration in momentum. We had price revert back to the zero line. We had the histogram flip positive. We have that EMA 5, SMA 10 bull cross that I pointed out that took place right here in February of 2023. You had a dip back to the orange and green line, which were gifts. So that's where we are. Not much has changed. Not much is likely to change. Okay? Now let's take a look at IWM. All right, so SPY is pretty much just like QQQ and SMH. Okay? I guess we can go look at those real quick if you want. Just, you don't believe me. These are all the same. Okay? SMH is the leader. QQQ follows SMH. SPY is the same as Q for the most part. And this is where it gets interesting. The transports, which are at high on month, and now for the first time in almost 3 years, are 3% from setting an all-time high. Okay, and more importantly, look at this momentum. Reverted to mean. Price reverted to mean. These are moving averages. As what? The histogram flipped positive and demand was found. If we really zoom out, what's going on? This is just a quarterly uptrend. Look at this green line. I mean, I don't know what else to say. This is an uptrend. Okay, so let's go to IWM. This is where it gets interesting. Is the quarterly about to do that EMA 5 SMA 10 bull cross? Like the same one you got back here for Qs, right? The same one you got for SMH back here, right? These leader laggard functions that are taking place. You're getting it right now in the quarterly, okay? So we look at the monthly, high on month. What do we have? EMA 5, SMA 10, bull cross on the monthly. Momentum reverted to zero line. Momentum reverted to mean. In this instance, it was SMA 50 and SMA 80. Again, the more weak indexes will fall further than the stronger indexes that don't hit the SMA 80. Okay? So just throwing the ball around the horn, trying to get this one out quick. Do we have a final breakout here? I mean, we are 1% away, okay? And what do I mean? Well, if we were going to go lower, we're going to cut right through this 200 like we did back here. like we did back here, like we did back here, like we did back here. EMA 5, SMA 10 bull cross still in motion. PPO above zero line in a bull configuration, still pretty close to the zero line, telling me this thing has a lot of room to potentially run. That being said, if she can't get above 201 and ultimately 205, there's nothing to talk about. This thing is in a big range. So this is the bear thesis, okay? Why is it that IWM is not supporting the bull market thesis that QQQ, SPY, and SMH are? Okay, that's right out of Dow theory. It's one of the Dow theory tenets. I didn't invent this stuff, okay, guys? I just read the book, and now I'm reading it to you. So looking at this, what do we have? Well, the daily has reverted to the zero line. It reverted to what? That blue line. You see, no matter what chart we look at, no matter what time frame I look at, I'm looking for the same things on all of them. We're looking for a long-term trend that we can participate in, ideally a trend that has reverted to mean and is in the process of breaking out or producing a new impulse wave. What do I mean by that? Something like this, okay? Specifically, like this, okay? These corrective patterns that get momentum back to mean, get price back to mean, that enable the next impulse, right? You had one here, okay? You had one here. What happened each time? Momentum got back down to mean, price got back down to mean. Each time it was a different mean, okay? SMA 80, SMA 50, SMA 200, but each time momentum got to the zero line, which is what we were looking for. Before what happened? The next impulse move. Okay, that's how the markets work. They do something like this, they go up, then they pull back, then they go up, then they pull back, then they go up. Or if they're in a downtrend like the pot stocks, they do this. Again, pot stocks are the only thing that I can see that look anything like that. Even MSOS here, trying to break out, is rolling over. Right? Like I'm not seeing this risk on just yet. It's very close. Like I keep saying, we are 1.5% away from breaking out. The monthly is supportive. All the other indexes are supporting this. IYT is supporting this. So to me, this is a bull breakout in motion, guys. This is your inverse head and shoulder pattern I identified in IYT. We now are breaking the neckline. And look, the volume supports the pattern. Okay, so not a lot has changed. Offense is still on the field. Let's look at the defense. Defense still in downtrends. See how these are literally the exact opposite. Oops. SPY, blue, brown, green, all below price. Bonds, TLT, blue, brown, green, above price. Okay. So still in a downtrend here on TLT. And what do we not have on the monthly yet? We don't have the monthly bull cross. What do we have? We still have a bear trend in play on the bonds, on TLT. Okay, this is still a downtrend. Sorry. Now, histogram is flipped positive. Okay, she's trying. What needs to happen to change this? She has to get above this green line. Step one. Okay. What other defensive things do we look at? Gold. Yeah. I got nothing. Still range bound. Rolling over on the weekly. Histogram flipping down. Expected to pull back to this blue line. Expected to pull back to this blue line or this SMA 80. Underperforming equities. Underperforming the offense that is on the field. Okay, so TLT, gold, UUP, the defensive plays all still have downtrends showing. Momentum needing to get back to zero. So we just, as simple as this may seem, we just keep the offense on the field and go golfing and ignore the day-to-day noise. Why? Because the monthly trends are in my favor. Does that make sense? Okay. So now we're going to look at what I believe are the top sectors to own in 2024. Here's healthcare. Okay, we have a breakout in motion. XLV. Big time focus. We've got IYT, which I already covered. We have XLF, which I've been covering. We nailed this symmetrical triangle low back here. We saw momentum revert to a higher low. We saw the EMA 5 SMA 10 bull cross, have been long ever since. Very, very easy trend that everyone can participate in. Okay, and what's really interesting is something like this going on, and price is going to come all the way up here to 57. I don't know. You know, is it going to come up here to 50? Probably. Price did not get below the blue line, and momentum reverted to 0, and the histogram flipped up. That's what we're looking for. Those are the conditions. I'm giving you guys my system for free. I'm confident that you guys can't figure out how to make it work. That's why you keep watching my videos. All right. That being said, offense is on the field. These are the sectors to focus on. Last one is XLY, consumer discretionary. Okay. Look at this breakout on the monthly. Look at this on the weekly. I mean, here are the levels to watch. Pause the video, come back, check the work, come back, watch this in a month. Okay. This thing is going to come up to here to 212. Probably by June, May or June. We look at some of the leaders I've been talking about. EMPH had earnings this week. I think you have to look at this again, right? If I got bearish there up here at this point, the double top was quite obvious. I mean, look at all these sellers, right, that are trapped here from the October 23 high or October 16th high that week. Look at all the volume that came flooding in. Look at the V-shaped recovery, the pullback to the breakup candle low. Back test, throwback of the downtrend, and momentum continues higher. I'm going to look through this one with a little bit more detail. Looking at the monthly, what do we have? Again, momentum reverted to the 0 line, went negative, price reverted to mean, which mean SMA 80. Okay, still have this EMA 5 SMA 10 bear cross, which is why this was an easy sell signal. I sold a third of the position right here. Right? Why? Because the monthly trend is down. When do we want to flip conviction? When monthly EMA 5 puts in a bull cross. What will do that? Well, you're going to need this inverse head and shoulders pattern to validate. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Volume for the bulls is clearly there. Volume for the bears is clearly drying up. So what do we have? We have an expanding triangle pattern. I love these. Again, this is truly subjective, so just take it for what it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A, B, C, D, E. Look at that beautiful broadening formation. Earnings came out, they missed, and boom, train left the station. Why? Well, because some corrective pattern took place. Price reverted to mean. In this instance, mean was this trend line or the middle of the channel. Okay. We are range bound, meaning channel, rectangle, meaning just do your geometry and you can get a good guess. Okay. That being said, we've got a beautiful breakout potential here. Let's turn off after hours. We've got massive volume here. 20% gap up on volume. Lost the daily higher low the very next day. It was instantly bought up and closed above that day's high. 120.98, closed 122.48, closed on the weekly. Really, this looks like a beautiful back test. This also aligns with a major bottom that may have occurred in the markets back here in Q4 of 2023. Okay, so again, the psychology on this one is this is the week that she was added to the NASDAQ. Okay, added to NQ this week. Okay, this is the week removed from NQ, where it was this week right here. Okay, So the psychology for this trade, which again, you are trading human psychology, is perfect for a reversal, despite the price action that you watch on a day-to-day basis. Okay, that being said, we have a breakout, we have a breakaway gap, we have this trend line, this downtrend, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. If she gets above 132, if she gets above 139, we're going to start filling some gaps. All right. And when I look at this, if this is a breakaway gap, what are the implications? And let me pull that up for you. Okay. Here it is, right out of the CMT textbook. Most profitable gaps are those that occur at the beginning of a trend called breakaway gaps. Breakaway gaps signal the pattern is completed and a boundary penetrated. The size of the gap and the space between the two extremes in which no activity occurs appears to be proportional to the strength of the subsequent price move. Heavy volume accompanies. The best manner of trading Brado is to wait a short while for the initial fading or profit taking by the professionals to see if the gap is filled or not. And if not, enter in the direction of the gap with a stop at the point where the gap could be filled. Okay, so let's take this data. Let's clear everything off this chart. Okay, boom, here we go. Let's get everything out of here. I told you this is a breakaway gap. We just confirmed. Okay, she tried to fill it this day. She failed. So that was your first chance to enter. Conservative traders are going to wait. What are they going to wait for? They're going to wait for a clear break of this downtrend. Okay? It doesn't really matter how we draw it. You're at it. All right? So what is the stop? Here is your stop. Where? The gap fill. You can literally set this stop and walk away. Where's your entry? This day it was 114, 113. Risk from stop, 10%. Okay, so how do we develop a trade based on this? Our risk is 101. That's our stop. Okay, and if we wanted to implement portfolio management, no more than 20%. That's how I like to operate. 20, 25% starter. Okay, because as this thing grows, that will multiply. So just taking a look at this, a very, very easy trade to participate in, whether you missed it or not. Structurally speaking, you have the inverse head and shoulders pattern that you need to see. It has not been confirmed yet, but the volume is suggesting that this is a breakaway gap. And the implications of a breakaway gap I just read to you. Okay, so we've got EMPH we like quite a bit. Crocs finally breaking out, as I've been talking about this one for a very, very long time. I bought down here. I bought again down here. I bought again down here. Okay, I sold some, maybe here at above 107, 110, somewhere up there. And again, was a buyer back here in the 80s again. This is a fundamentally strong name. The PE is very, very low in value territory. If you look at the long-term trend, we have a very, very clear long-term trend. This SMA 50, this blue line, everyone can participate in. Okay, here's another name. Go play it. These are the names. What happened? Gee, price went back to the blue and orange. I'm sorry, the blue SMA 50 and the gray SMA 80. Price went negative. Momentum went negative, flipped up, happened again, and here we go. And structurally speaking, what pattern do we really have here? Is this a contracting triangle? Okay, it sure as hell might be. We can take all subjectivity away, like triangles and patterns, and we can just look at the moving averages, right? Clearly demand at this brown one, clearly supply at the blue one. This week, she closed above the blue line for the first time. You should take note. If she gives it back up next week and closes next week below 100, closes below 94, closes below, this brown line, closes below, let's call it, 86. I mean, this thing's over, right? What do we have? We have a clear supply and demand to play with. And let's finally wrap up with NVIDIA. Okay, I think NVIDIA is approaching the final destination, somewhere up here around 850. This will be the 5-wave move. Okay, and what happens with momentum? It peaks at wave 3. It tries to reset for 4, comes back to 5, and usually puts in a divergence. So if this is going to be some top, you will see a negative divergence into the top of this ascending channel. Again, is this saying get rid of all your NVIDIA and never look at NVIDIA ever again? No, it's just suggesting that something like this is going to happen. Mean reversion again. Where to? The middle of this channel, which is mean, or the blue line, SMA 50 on the weekly. Okay? And if that doesn't happen, then this bearish divergence that you see here on the monthly is going to resolve higher. A divergence is a condition. It is not a sell signal. The buy signal here was generated back here January of 2023, and no one wanted her. The second buy signal is when she fell back here to the 5, to the 10, right here before earnings, and no one wanted her again. Okay? Now, everyone's starting to notice NVIDIA and SMCI. Quite funny how that works. Up 1,000% in a year. Now people want to buy her. Okay? This to me is starting to look a bit like capitulation buying. But I'm not calling for a top. I'm not guessing a top. I will wait for the EMA 5 SMA 10 bear cross on the weekly to suggest that we have a top. Right now, daily, again, we're looking to buy momentum. We're looking to buy price when momentum is down here. If momentum is not down here, I'm not buying price. Okay? Now, you could have said, what about here? We've got a clear breakout, right? Okay, breakout traders were buying here. That's not what I was doing. I was buying here. Okay, I recommended buying here. Go back, check my work, watch my videos. All right, that pretty much wraps it up. I've covered pretty much everything. Oh, I can't forget about Uber and DraftKings, the darlings. Uber, a leader in IYT. Okay, clearly maybe a little long in the tooth, but this is trend mode activated. Okay, so for people that are not participating, the yellow line is the line where you can participate. If you are not looking for what I do, which is, hey, I found an ABC, I found momentum revert, I saw it flip up, I got the buy signal here. This is where my buy signal came. If you're not doing those things, then you need to be looking to buy pullbacks to the 10 or pullbacks to the 5 or pullbacks to previous major pivots, i.e. this 64 level. Okay, so Uber, I'm all over it. DraftKings, all over it. Bought them both first week of January. Okay, and we are now up 40% on the DraftKings position. And if we go to the January position here, up 26% on the Uber position. Again, leader within IYT. If this is really breaking out, Uber has a long, long way to go. Okay, what I love about this name, IPO low, right here during COVID, massive wick representing buying on massive volume, a rally that broke the IPO high, then a higher low that held the COVID low. This is strength. This is what it looks like. Monthly buy signal was put in right here. April of last year. Okay? I ignored it. I played TPOR, which is the 3X ETF for IYT, the transports. I ultimately exited that position in December and flipped it all over to Uber. First week of January. Okay, I don't like 3X ETFs nearly as much as the leaders within said ETF. DSCY. Okay, pause the video. You should be able to tell why. Here's the actual ETF, almost at all-time highs. Here's the 3X ETF, 100% from all-time highs. And here is the leader within the ETF, which is at all-time highs. And this is how it works for all of them. NVIDIA hit an all-time high May 2023 or whatever. SMH, when did she hit it? July. Okay, the individual names lead the ETFs higher. Okay, so when I look at IWM and I say this looks pretty bullish, what are the individual names within the ETF doing? Like Crocs, I would say, well, the odds that everything's just going to collapse from here are pretty low. Now, could they collapse, somewhere up here? Could they collapse from 130? Yeah, definitely. Are they going to collapse the first week after closing above? Probably not. They had every opportunity to go lower, and they didn't. Okay, so those are the names that I'm watching. Those are the reasons I'm watching them. I know this video is a little bit longer than I expected, but if you like it, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. I'm out. I'm not going to do one of these videos until I return from vacation, which will be February 25th. And I will do a video probably sometime that week to wrap up the month of February. So I hope you guys have fun, and I'll see you at the end of the month.